Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Truth We Hide podcast. Today's guest is Tanya Miller, and can we just, you guys need to go follow her after you hear her story because she's doing amazing things, and I'm so glad that she's on here today. First of all, she's an author, speaker, coach, and strategist. And Tanya, thank you so much for being on here. Just viewing your story and everything that you're working on is like, wow. So please tell us everything.
Thank you, Annette, for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to come talk with everybody about this thing called a wild ride of life. For sure, I know definitely and can relate. But again, my name is Tanya J Miller, LLC. Talk with Tanya, the brand, the blog. I am an author, speaker, coach, strategist. Basically, what I do is very similar to what Annette does. I help you to figure out how to fit the puzzle pieces of life together so you can do life right and you can do that well. And I do that so you can be able to do life and leadership unapologetically on purpose, because you got to do life the way it's meant and done for you. You can't do it for anybody else. So that's what I do. Love it, enjoy it, and I'm excited to talk with everybody about it today.
I love, and I wrote this down, unapologetic on purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
That's like my
That
favorite.
is it.
So tell us, how did you know this is what you wanted to do when you were growing up, or what kind of background did you grow up in to make you just be just who you are? Because you're doing amazing things for people and it's needed. So tell us.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of some of it I got kind of inherited by DNA by way of my parents, kind of just how they raised us, and then some of it just of what they both did, vocationally. My dad and mom have both been in ministry, if I can say that, for a long time. For years, I grew up as a pastor's kid, so they were always for the community, for serving, for being servant leaders, and just helping people do life. So that kind of came at an early age, just knowing the importance of my role in life to be there for people, to help them along the way, and to do whatever part I could do. The other piece of it, of how I'm kind of who I am, it definitely comes from my mom. I talk about it a lot in my project, my mama said, but, she just kind of put it in us, that, and there's a saying, and I have to say it just how she said it, can't nobody beat you being you. And she would tell us that, and she would just kind of make us know we are who we're supposed to be. There's nobody else that's supposed to be like us. There's not another life we're supposed to live, and there's not anything that we're supposed to do if it's not just in us to do it. And so just that core of a foundation was there early on. My dad, entrepreneur my entire life, so that was in the early as well. And then just kind of, different things and aspects and roles of life, some kind of way I always ended up writing, and that just kept sticking with me throughout whatever I did, even in corporate America. Somehow I was always the one writing the SOPs and the business plans and proposals. I was like, how did I get into like the presentation? Like, how did I end up being the person to do all the writing? And so, whether business writing or creative writing, it was always still there. And so, like I said, just the pieces of it begin to pull themselves together. And when you realize the pieces fit, because it's always been in you, it's always been your purpose, it's very easy to go forth and to do a venture, and to do a assignment or a role, or to do a project, because it's been there all along. It's been a part of who you were.
I love that. And I love what your mom said because it is so true. And I think we all need to remember that, we are who we are for a reason. And we're
Yes.
here we all have a mission. We all have a purpose. We just need to really open up our eyes and follow that. And it's so hard because we've got these blinders on. Or I know with me, I am, what's the word? I often fall into that trap of imposter syndrome. And I didn't
Yeah.
really know what that was until
Mm-hmm.
just recently. And I had to keep reminding myself that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my path.
Yeah.
And I don't need to be comparing myself with someone else because that's their path. And so that's
Yeah.
hard. It is hard, especially I think I think with anything, whether you're in school or trying to be an entrepreneur, whatever the case is, we all fall into that
Trying to
little
be a
trap.
parent, trying to be a spouse. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, no, this is what God wanted me to do. But um so you have, gosh, you're doing so much. So my matters product, I'm just like, where you're an author of so much and you have so much going on for the future. And so what are you helping people with? And like, how do you help them find their passion in their mission in life?
A lot of times that's it. They ask those questions because just honestly, they haven't taken the time, or like you said, they're looking at everyone else and comparing themselves to everyone else, not realizing there's always going to be somebody, or there's always going to be somebody better, somebody more known, somebody bigger, somebody stronger, somebody wiser, somebody more famous. Or there's somebody, it's always going to be that. And so a lot of times, what I do is talk to you about, but where are you at? Like, what is the level of what you can do, and you can do it well, and what is it that's in you that, like I said before, nobody else can do. Not to say that they can't still be a writer, they can't still be someone that is in military or a military wife, they can't be a business owner or entrepreneur. There are, yes, other people can do it, but what is it about what you do that nobody else can do? Because it's a part of who you are, and it's just made up of what's inside of you. And so a lot of times I dig into that passion. What ignites you, what drives you, what is it that and a lot of people say, is that what it is? Like, what is it, that thing that you can do, wake up in the morning and keep doing, and not worry about not things not working, even if you get roadblocks, stumbling blocks, even if, things get critical, there's still something in you that drives you to want to do that. That's what I dig into. That's what I hone in on, because that's where the purpose lies. All the other stuff, it can easily go away when you're trying to do what everybody else can do, because that's when you can stop running your own race, when you are trying to run somebody else's. But when we can dig into what your race is, what your path is, what your life is, and even if it's crazy, even if it's wild, it's yours. We can do that. Hey, we made it. We're good.
You're so right. And that's what I've discovered this past year is what sets your soul on fire. What
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if that's what you want to do and that's what lights you up, you need to go for it. Because
Yes.
then you'll just be doing something that someone else is doing and you're not happy. You're just doing it because they're doing it. You got to do it because
Hmm.
that's what is really igniting your soul, what it's living inside of you. So that's awesome. I love that, and we need to remember that we have to do what we're meant to do, not what someone else is doing, because anybody can do. We each have our own story to tell,
Yes.
and we're all different, and we all have something to give back to the world, and we need to remember to appreciate that. So yeah, that's I love that. Now, I also wrote down something I really love was your four pillars, your purpose, passion, vision, destiny.
Hmm.
How did you come up with those?
It's the pillars, it's the foundation of what I do. Whether I'm writing books, I'm coaching, I'm speaking. I talk on a lot of things. Even like you said, Tanya, like we can talk on so much because you literally can flow and fit in anything. It's because of that foundation. It's because of, at the end of the day, I, it's still getting to the foundation of who you are. If we're talking about leadership, if we're talking about mentorship, if we're talking about trauma, if we're talking about self-care, if we're talking about, hardships, it all still goes back to how can you, how are you still even able to do it, and how you still be able to come through it. And it's because of those four pillars. purpose, passion, vision, and destiny. And so I literally tell people the passion, like we said, what sets your soul on fire, what ignites you, what's in there. Because when we can get to that, we can get to the purpose. We can get to, sometimes we have passions, but those are things that, they don't, you have to differentiate the stuff that is just something that's a passion and you like, but drill down to it and pull from it. But how does it tie to your purpose? How does it link together? Because the passion is where we can at least start to hone in onto the purpose. And the purpose, like I said, is your why you get up in the morning, why you want to keep trying to do this project, why you want to keep, being, successful in your marriage, in your job, in your role, in your business. That's part of what your why is. And, sometimes I work with individuals to monetize it. Sometimes I work with individuals just to figure out how to be successful at your why, to just do it and be able to do life every day because of your why and because of your purpose. And so that's a lot of times where we can then funnel into the vision, and that's where the plan comes from. That's where the strategy gets into effect. That's where we start to really be able to see the different, if you could say the different roads and paths you can take from your purpose. And then the destiny is just kind of, when you can kind of look 5, 10, 15 years down the road, and you can see how all of it was beginning to come together, how all of the paths led you to where you are and where you're going. And so I tell people, to me, they're pillars, but they also are like a wheel, because it all keeps turning, because you keep growing as a person, you keep evolving. You're always still working towards destiny. You're always still moving in the direction and the path and the journey called life. And wild or not, crazy or not, we're always still on it. And so that's why it's the pillars, but it's also a wheel, because you're still going, you're still doing life every day.
That is so true. And I love those, and I love what you tell people, because as soon as you find that, you're going to want to get up and you're going to keep being motivated to continue doing that, to continue doing life as soon as you find your why. And I think that
Yes.
makes such a difference, and it's so hard for people who are struggling out there to find their why. But
Oh yeah.
I think as soon as you dig deep and you get them to speak on what their passion is, and it gets a little bit easier to go, you know what, you're right, I do love doing that. So
Mhm.
now I love waking up every morning, because it's no longer uh, I have to do this because I have to get paid. It's because I love doing it, and getting paid is a bonus.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, it's hard. So I know we were speaking a little bit earlier. You have some military within your family or with your friends that you know.
Mhm. Yes.
How have you been able to? Because I know sometimes military military members are stubborn, and so we don't like to hear things about what our passion is. We don't like to answer questions like that. We're kind of like in this mode of we're a soldier 24/7, and that's all we know.
Mhm.
So what have you seen within your own family or your friends on finding something other than, what, after military life? How do you get them to stay motivated? Have you had to deal with that?
Yeah, like you hit on so much, even, literally everything started resonating. I started remembering and flashbacking. Um, but, a lot of times, even, those family members that I have, even when they, start to make the decision to go in, I talk to them about, okay, you're going in, but what's the path? What's the purpose? What's your end game? What are you trying to, accomplish with this opportunity? Because that's what it is. It's an opportunity, but you have to maximize it, and you have to really put it in line with your purpose and use it for where you at least have an idea of where you're trying to go. So I have a lot of those conversations, because I actually have, I think, at least 4 little cousins that are in different branches of the military right now.
Oh my
One's in
gosh.
Germany, one's in California, and I want to say 2 are stationed now in Texas. So I don't know how we end up being military-ish every, kind of couple of years of generations, but there's at least four more. Actually, oh, and I have an older cousin. He's been in for a good while now. Two actually, they're brothers. One, he's still in Texas, the older cousin, and then I want to say um they just went overseas. They sure did.
Oh, wow.
They're not in Germany, but they're somewhere in Europe as well, their entire family. So I have six. I correct myself, but even like I said, I talk to the young ones about what's the path, what's the plan, especially if you don't stay in to retire. And then, those that are, friends, like I lived in the Hampton Roads area in Virginia for several years. And I tell people, they're like, well, what's Hampton Roads? I said, literally, it's the mecca of military and government in the United States. Like every branch of military is there. Uh, Government, everything. I'm like, government that you didn't even know was in that part of there is there. Like a
Right.
lot of people don't even know NASA is there. I'm like, yes, NASA is there. Like, really? They didn't know NASA was there till Hidden Figures came out. So it's a lot there. And so living there, a lot of my friends were military as well. And, some of them began to have to make the decision, will I stay or will I go in? Because, especially a lot of the friends that I had that were ladies, they were starting to want to have a family, and that struggle of what if I get new orders and I have to go get deployed, or the ones in the Navy have to get ship duty, it became difficult. And so we would have those conversations about, okay, if you get out, what do you want to do? Like, what's in you? Like, well, I've been in so long, Tanya, like, I don't know. I'm like, listen, you know what you can do, you know what you can figure out and maximize from your time in, but also what your passion is and what you're good at. And so a lot of times, we would talk about that next phase and what it looked like, of what, if you didn't retire and you had to go do a corporate job, what did that look like? Was it going to be consulting, contracting? Would you stay there, or would you be open to relocating or go back home? And so a lot of times, the military, you guys have a lot of hard questions to figure out when you're starting to get out, but you got to remember why you got in
Mm-hmm.
and what you wanted to do with that, and now the person that you are now later, and what does that look like, and begin to drill in to what do I want the rest of my life and my time to be now that I'm owning it 24/7. I'm not getting new orders every 3 or 4 years. Like, what do I want that to look like, and what I want that to look like with my current circumstances, whether I'm single, married, or a family. How do I want that next years to be? And so definitely a lot of help and conversations with those transitions as well.
I love that you're having that conversation because it's sometimes we don't think about that. We just join the army and we do our time, and then when it comes to transition and those questions come up, we're like, oh, I don't know. I didn't have to think about that because
Yeah.
I uh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and no one ever talked to me about that before, and it's such this mental strain, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
stressful. And so for you to start talking to your family and friends now about it is so needed, because we don't know what we're going to do, and it's scary, and it's, yeah, it definitely, I wasn't prepared. I was just like, oh shit, I'm getting out. Okay. I don't know what the heck I want to do when I grow up, and I'm
Yeah.
41 years old, and oh my god. So, yeah. But now having the conversation, it makes it a little bit easier to have the faith that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but it's not like that for everybody. Um, where do you see all of this in the next 5 years? What's your plan? What do you want to do besides, oh my gosh, you want to publish some books? So yes. Yes.
Yeah, definitely, more books are in me. Like I said, that's my number one. I love it. So definitely more books are in me, more books are coming, more opportunities, to speak, and have speaking engagements, big or small, on my normal everyday. I'm still in my 9 to 5, so I definitely want the opportunity to be able to freely do my business without, worry and doubt. So it's basically built up to the level to where I can do it as my 9 to 5. So that is a desire as well, and to have, the experience of just continue to do what I do. And it's now not just um, helping me to take care of myself and my family, but it's also leaving a legacy, and it's leaving an impact, beyond where I'm at now, but future, so maybe even bringing in some additional, people under me, and part of the team as well. So um, lots of thoughts of kind of where I want to be and see, but for sure, just making this my everyday, because it's in me and it's my heart, and I want to get to that as soon as possible, because it's a need. Like you said, I know, even just listening to you and hearing you and say those questions of what you kind of dealt with when you were getting out. We didn't even dig on, some of the life that happened when you were in the military. And I know, from what that, or you guys are able to share, sometimes that's a lot. But, I want to be able to do this and help, military, non-military, civilian, as y'all call it, civil servant, just regular folk, all the time as possible, as much as possible. Because, like I said, I definitely, know it's the need, and it's my heart. So more books and just doing this every day, and able to just leave a legacy and leave an imprint.
I love that. You guys need to go look her up because, well, first of all, she's adorable. Second, everything that she's doing is just like, wow. She's inspired me, like, right now to get a handle on this book that I've been trying to do for 3 years. It needs to happen for real this time. Um,
Yes, absolutely. See, you shouldn't have told me that, and that I'm going to be emailing him and like, okay, where are we at? Come
yeah. Are
on.
you done yet? Are you done yet? It's going to happen. So for
You
real
should
this
not have
time.
told me.
I can't wait to see your other books published, and I can't wait to see you doing this as your number one, because I can see the passion just in your pictures and I can hear it in your voice. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being you. Thank you to your parents for raising you to be amazing like you are right now. So
Thank you.
I love it. So where can people find you? I know you have like all the social media, even Periscope.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on all of those: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Still have the Periscope and Snapchat, but kind of the main ones everybody's using. I mean, I even got a TikTok now, so but I don't use it yet. But
Uh-oh.
I want to make sure I get them. Like, make sure. So if I ever decide I'm going to do me a crazy video, y'all look for me. But I'm on all of those under Talking with Tanya. That's Tanya. I have a website. It's called TanyaJMiller.com. All the links are there, but on there you'll get information on coaching, those options and packages I have, speaking engagements if you want to come book me, virtual or not. Hey, y'all, we're virtual, so I still am doing speaking engagements right now. And then if you need any leadership training or strategy sessions, that's on there. And then also I have an online school where you can get life and leadership coaching courses that are already there, downloadable for you to just get started. Because, hey, I know a lot of times, you may not be ready to get coaching with me directly, but you still want to get some of what I do. So that's where you can do it at your own pace, and do it very affordably, like very, very affordably. And then that's at school.tanyajmiller.com. And then I also have an online store where I have the books, the journals, and what I call message merch. Basically, it's a message apparel, buttons, coasters, stickers, different things to reinforce the messages that we talk about in the brand, to help you basically do life unapologetically on purpose. So it's real cool stuff there. Again, that's at shop.tanyajmiller.com. the bonus is if you join my fam and connect at bit.ly, all caps, join fam, you get 20% off your first order. But hey, I am not a person that says you have to shop with me. I am on Amazon. I believe in Prime. I'm a Prime member. So you can definitely get my books in audio, print, and digital on Amazon. And then the journals are there in print only. So I'm not hey, shop Prime. I love Prime myself. So check me out on all of that. And I just would love to connect with everybody and just hear, even what you got out of this episode on this wild ride called life with Ned, and just, even hear your story and be whatever support I can on your journey. So yeah, that's me. And I've enjoyed talking with you and just getting to connect with you. And I promise you, I'm going to hold you accountable on this book. You shouldn't have told me. You should not have told me. I promise you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much. How exciting. I'm going to go check out your store because I love, love, love stuff like that. Motivational quotes to keep me grounded, to remind me about life every day. So I love that. That's exciting. I'm going to put that all in the show notes. You guys need to check her out. Let me know what you think about this episode because seriously, she's adorable. So thank you so much, Tanya. I'm really honored that you were on here to share everything about what you're doing to help people.
No problem. Thank you so much. You guys stay safe, be well, and keep doing life unapologetically on purpose.
Yes, thank you so much.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you for listening to the Truths We Hide podcast, created by A Wild Ride Called Life. To find out more about our mission, visit www.awildridecalledlife.com.